Hello friends, welcome on back to Football Therapy with me, your host Jan. I hope you're all doing well, friends. I really do hope that. You alright, mate? Yeah, good. Pleased to hear it. Hopefully good. If not, well, things will get better, I'm sure. Anyway, welcome back to Chelsea News, the daily series here on Football Therapy, where I see what's being said about the Blues, giving you my opinion, but of course, more importantly, asking for yours. I always urge you guys to start the conversation, talk about the subject matter of Chelsea, what we're talking about, what's going on, etc. Lots of stuff going on today, or certainly lots of stuff being spoken about within the media. First of all, let's get some housework out of the way. I'd urge you all to drop a like if you want to show your support on the channel, or dislike it, hey, if you don't like me. But hey, let's get interactive, like or dislike, and subscribe if you want to. If you're new to the experience, you might like the content, you could always unsubscribe later if you don't dig it. And if you do choose to subscribe, hit that all-important bell notifications icon. If you're already subbed, make sure it's pressed as well. Alright then, let's get into it. Let's start off with big Conor Gallagher. Young Conor Gallagher, called up to the England squad. The senior England squad, something that I spoke about recently. His omission for, Emile Smith-Rowe being picked perhaps over him was a bit frustrating, considering how well Conor's been performing in the Premier League consistently. Emile Smith-Rowe is a very good player, but I think it was a bit of recency bias off a really good performance recently. Anyway, Conor Gallagher has got called up. Of course, England are 1 point off qualifying for the World Cup, and they play San Marino. They're going to definitely get at least a draw against San Marino. Raheem Sterling, Jack Grealish, Jordan Henderson have left the squad. I think that's largely because the job is done. I don't know the finer details, but upon first glance, I would speculate that, we've qualified, essentially. So with that, go back to your clubs, don't get injured, keep the managers happy. Liverpool and Man City want their players back to be in a title race. And this is an opportunity for other players, good England players. England have a massive rota of excellent footballers they can call from, including the likes of Conor Gallagher getting his first England call-up. Of course, he's been magnificent this season on loan at Crystal Palace, scoring goals, assisting goals, creating chances, tackling, pressing, just being an all-round excellent central midfielder that many Chelsea fans can see him starting in our midfield next season, which is a big shout. Would he be one of these double six players if Thomas Tuchel, touch wood, still at the club? Or would he be one of these inside number 10s behind the striker? Probably more likely one of those players. Although in pre-season, Thomas Tuchel did use him as a double six midfielder role. Something to consider. So really good news for Conor Gallagher. Hopefully we see him on the pitch getting some minutes. He's going from strength to strength. He's impressed on all his loans so far. Charlton, Swansea, West Brom, and now Crystal Palace. He's doing magnificent. So huge shout out to Conor Gallagher. I think we can see him stepping into the midfielder for Chelsea sooner rather than later. Let's move on to some transfer business. I do want to talk about quickly this. I want to talk about Antonio Rudiger later in the video, so make sure you stick around because his comments are rather interesting. But there's loads of reports on Eden Hazard, of course. And the reports are suggesting it's the Chelsea owner, Roman Abramovich, that wants this romantic reintroduction into the team. Now, look. You know me, you know I absolutely adore Eden Hazard, and even if it doesn't make any sense, if it's really cheap, I wouldn't be opposed to him coming home. I'm not saying he needs to start every game, but even if he's just back at Cobham in that house he owns, back with his friends, coming on in certain games, lighting up, stuff like that. If it can happen, it would give me warm fuzzies. Much like Roman Abramovich. That's just where I'm at. I wanted to tell you my position on it. Perhaps it's not entirely logical, but football is about emotions a lot of the time, and I could not help but just be pleased and happy to see Eden Hazard in a Chelsea shirt again, even if he's not as good. Like I said, even if he's the ruddy mascot, if he's the water boy telling jokes and having fun with Jorginho or Mason Mount, I would love it. I'd love it! Training with Kyle Munson at the door again. Anyway, despite my desires and dreams of Eden Hazard returning, Apparently there's been an impasse within negotiations and discussions between Chelsea and Real Madrid. Chelsea aren't willing to pay any more than £34 million, which is about 40 million euros in January to get him back, but Real Madrid probably will feel they're being horrendously mugged, which by the way, they would be. They bought him off Chelsea for like £89 million basic. It goes up to like £160 million euros or something ridiculous. Marina Granovskaya negotiated an absolutely incredibly monstrous deal, if we are to believe certain reports. On top of the 90 million they bought him for, they immediately had to pay a La Liga winning bonus, because even though he got injured and scored like 1 or 2 goals, he technically won La Liga with them, so they had to pay Chelsea like an extra 10-15 million immediately, and there's other things as well, that other installments that they had to pay, reportedly, if we are to believe that. And I did a video a while ago, I think it's they had to pay up to 160 million euros. If you search football therapy Eden Hazard, you'll get that video. It's absolutely incredible, some of the stuff in there. It's a good video if memory serves, so go check that out. So it might not happen, even though I'd love it to happen. I'd be keen to get people's opinions on that. But don't be like, Jan, never go back, he's not the same player and all that. Because you wouldn't be spending ridiculous amounts of money. And you have to accept there's a certain amount of sentiment in it. But you wouldn't be like Ronaldo where you have to play him. So I'll be keen to learn your thoughts, feelings, and emotions on that. Before we talk about Antonio Rudiger and his comments, there are certain reports, I'm looking at a thing now from the Hard Tackle. Apparently Barcelona are eyeing up all Chelsea's attackers. I wanted to talk about this. Christian Pulisic, Hakim Ziyech, and Callum Hudson-Odoi. 3 very different players in terms of age, profile, style, and where their standing is at Chelsea. Christian Pulisic worked under Tuchel before. He was talismanic for a short amount of time for Chelsea. In fact, if you want a detailed explanation on where Christian Pulisic is, check out my upload from yesterday where I talk about Mohamed Salah's story at Chelsea, and does actually Christian Pulisic have the same profile to emulate Mohamed Salah's goals and brilliant performances? That's me referencing an article from Adam Newson from Football.London. Do go check out yesterday's upload if you want information on Pulisic. But rival clubs, European giants, will be looking at Pulisic because he's very talented and scored against high-profile opposition. He's young, and also the money that having Captain America brings into the club side he's playing for. Dortmund, Chelsea. Remember, he's amazing for USA. He scored that goal, the opener against Mexico. High-profile, the amount of shirt sales, the amount of marketing, the amount of brand awareness. Whatever club side Christian Pulisic plays for, you suddenly get a lot of American soccer fans that support that club all of a sudden. There are a lot of Dortmund fans converting to Chelsea, trust me, in America. You know, it's not me saying anything detrimental about that fan culture, it's just the way it is. They love the player, understandably. He is the jewel in the crown for American soccer. So, it's not just he's a great player, he's young, obviously there's injury concerns, but he brings a lot of financial clout with him. Barcelona need money, so maybe they're thinking about that. Callum Hudson-Odoi is just a desired player around Europe. He's one of the sort of under-17 World Cup winners that there are loads of European clubs are looking at, understanding and recognising that the English talent, attacking talent, is there, and it's pretty mega. Do you know what I mean? Of course, Bayern Munich and Dortmund have been very, very interested in Callum Hudson-Odoi. We all know the story and the saga with Bayern Munich, but Dortmund had agreed terms with Callum Hudson-Odoi in the summer to take him on loan. They wanted him, he wanted to go there. Tuchel said, no, you're not going. I need you as a rotational player and as a rotational attacker and as a rotational wingback. And Callum Hudson-Odoi seems to be training pretty hard and he seems happy at the moment at Chelsea. Ziyech, however, is a player that we all feel perhaps is the most likely out of the attacking trio to be sold. Whether that's in January or the next summer, I don't think January, because Thomas Tuchel has said himself he needs everyone, and the fact how he does play Ziyech every now and again, I don't think it would be in Tuchel's interest at all to sell any attacker, and that includes Hakim Ziyech, because we are in so many competitions. We're still in every competition, and that includes the Club World Cup, as well as the League Cup, FA Cup, Premier League, which, by the way, we are the top of at the moment, so therefore we are in a title race, and the Champions League, which, by the way, we are champions of Europe, so, he'll want to try and retain that title. You don't fight on about these 1,000 fronts without everything you got, especially when like attackers are getting injured, like Pulisic, Werner, Romelu Lukaku, you know, players having dental surgery like Mason Mount. You need these players. So I can't see anyone going in January, but if we are to think one of them will eventually go, Hakim Ziyech perhaps in the summer. But it would be sad, because I've waxed lyrical on and off about Hakim Ziyech, about that left boot, about that sort of nonchalant audacity that, you know, we don't have anywhere else in the team. We don't have it anywhere else, and he's got that. It's that arrogance that you need sometimes to win games, to make that like risky pass. No one really does it except him. So I would have liked it to work and him to be an asset. And, you know, he doesn't have to be the star man, the starting man, but he's quality, mate. Hakim Ziyech is a quality player. If you can make it work, then bang, bang. Let me know what you guys think, actually. I'd be really keen to hear your collective opinion on Hakim Ziyech, because what a player he can be. Right then, Antonio Rudiger. Common consensus is Christensen's going to sign the extension, or wants to. Of course, there's a problem that's struck up that we don't know about. So saith, so reports Matt Law on the London is Blue podcast. A new problem has come up between Andreas Christensen and the Chelsea contract negotiators, which they both want to resolve because they all want the contract to be signed. Antonio Rudiger, it's a little bit more difficult. Now, it's the consensus that he will leave. Or certainly, that's the more likely option. That he wants to stay, but he understands Chelsea aren't going to meet his wage demands. He understands he will get far or much higher wages elsewhere from Chelsea Football Club. He did speak about this away on international duty. His comments were, "For now, I'm only concentrating on what's happening right now. I owe that to the club, the coach, and the team." And then he commented on a question returning to the Bundesliga. He said, "I'm currently focused on Chelsea. We'll see what happens." But I think what's really important here, and this is something that I've spoken about before, he didn't just owe it to the club. He did talk about the coach. Now, Thomas Tuchel, of course, his countryman, a German coach, he's made Antonio Rudiger into this elite footballer. I don't care what anyone else says. Yes, he might have been good when he played in Serie A, or quite good enough, like that Conte thought I could probably do something with him. Yes, he had moments, you know, maybe playing next to David Luiz on Sarri, but he was never this, like, elite player. And you could just argue, yes, you know, playing in the back three suits him, but he played in the back three for a little bit under Conte, and he wasn't this player. This player he is now, this performer he is now, is down to Thomas Tuchel, the Chelsea manager. The manager that has designs to stay at Chelsea and build something at Chelsea for as long as he's allowed to, which might not be long because we know what this club is like. The manager that helped him win the Champions League, that might help him win the Premier League this season. Does he want to start negotiating with other clubs in January, knowing he's no longer going to be a Chelsea player in 6 months' time, and therefore that might distract him psychologically, and therefore derail his performances on what might be a really strong title charge? Does he want any of that? Or does he just want to stay at Chelsea, stay with this coach, stay winning, stay with his friends, and maybe take a hit financially? You can tell he wants to stay at Chelsea. But Chelsea, it's really this like Titanic game of chicken here. I don't know how much Chelsea have offered. There were some reports suggesting it's like 140k a week, and he wants, well above 200k a week or something like that. There needs to be a hand shaken, maybe 170. I don't know. I'm pulling that number out of the air. This thing where everyone just agrees this is a good wage. You can sign a 4-year deal or 4.5-year deal on this wage. That's a lot of money, mate. Just settle down now and maybe give him bonuses. Maybe all the players have bonuses. If you keep X amount of clean sheets or whatever, you get bonuses. Incentives, that can often work. Certainly it worked for a long, long time for Harry Kane at Tottenham. He was on a basic of decent money for a while. Not amazing considering his level, but he had these amazing bonuses that made him pay a lot if he scored a bunch of goals, which the club was fine with because it gives them goals. And he scored a bunch of goals and earned a bunch of money. So I don't know if there's something you can do like that with a defender, a centre-back. Possibly, we'll have to find out. But anyone's guess. It's 50-50 for me now, whether he goes or stays. But I'm keen to start the conversation with you guys in the comment section, so please do interact, and let's get some of your comments down there. If you want to show support on the channel, drop a like, subscribe if you're new. Hey, share the video with everyone you know. Or just one person. If most of you got to this point of the video, if you share it with one person, you can expand the football therapy family and support their team. Alright friends, enjoy the football, and I'll see you later.